Good evening, everybody. I'm back for some Ace Attorney. So it's Canada Day Eve, which means I get tomorrow off. It's a little funny the way it worked out. Normally the holidays wind up Actually, there's two things about the holidays. They wind up falling on the Monday for me, and it feels like it's always the third Monday of the week, which also means I take the Wednesday off for the local game dev meetup. But this time around, it's a little bit different. So I will, I guess what that means though is even though I'm starting a bit later, I will potentially have the option to go a bit later as well. So if it feels like we're getting close to the end of something, I may reserve the option to go a little bit longer. I have noticed in terms of the run times, so it used to be that it would be 3 hours was the bare minimum of a stream, and then I would I'd usually have the option to go a little bit longer. And I've noticed the last few, it's usually been, 2 hours and usually between like 10 to 15 minutes before we hit the 3 hours. But I've kind of been aware of the fact that the streams have been getting a little bit shorter lately. Most of that has been to try and preserve something like a bedtime. But of course, that's not as important today. It might be a school night, but I don't have anywhere to. Well, I guess it's not a school night if I don't have anywhere to be tomorrow. So let's open up the game and then we'll jump in. I think we're on the final day of this trial, the Edgeworth trial, Turnabout Farewell, I think. And based on the achievements, there might be one more, but there's also a lot of achievements which I just don't have yet. So turnabout goodbye. December 28th, 9:51 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. This is it, Judgment Day. Today, things are going to get settled at last. A lot of things. Ah! What's the big idea? Sorry, Nick. I only touched your shoulder. I guess the shock hasn't worn off from my run-in with the stun gun yesterday. Anyhow, today's the last day of the trial. Good luck, Nick. Yeah, thanks, Maya. Edgeworth is looking glum, as always. I hope on Karma doesn't push him too hard. Ah! What are you doing? Sorry, I'm sorry. I just thought I'd cheer you up with a pat on the back. Maya, maybe you should go outside and discharge. Right, good idea. Try not to electrocute anyone on your way out. Whoa, pal! What's gotten into that girl? Detective Gumshoe. Morning, Mr. Edgeworth. Good morning. How did it go, Detective? Have no fear. As promised, I've captured our runaway caretaker. I brought him in. Took all night, pal. Thanks, Detective Gumshoe. You must be tired. Actually, after that shock I got on the way in, I feel pretty good. Revive Snow, good to see you. I was very surprised to see you doing Space Marine 2. You're probably the only person in here right now. I'm sorry I wasn't a little more chatty yesterday, but first of all, you seem to have a very healthy audience, which was great to see. I had no idea that Space Marine 2 was even a dare drop option. But yeah, it's not the sort of thing I'd normally associate with you, but you seem to be having a good time with it. Also, happy pre-Canada Day. I hope you have the day off and you have some good plans. Oh, that's a shame. Actually, after that shock I got on the way in, I feel pretty good. Yogi says he's forgotten his own name. But that has to be a lie. Why would he want revenge on Edgeworth if he couldn't remember his past? He does remember, and I'm going to prove it. December 28th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 3. Yeah, no problem, Revive Snow. I'll try and properly sing your praises when there's a few more people here to to interact with. But okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think I may own the first Space Marine. And the second one seemed interesting. I have a weird relationship with Warhammer 40K because in one sense I find it very, very silly. But also kind of compelling in its own way. And I think one of the reasons that I maybe avoid like being a more dedicated fan is that some of the fandom seems very strange. They seem to take the game very, very seriously, which is weird because some of the earliest versions of the game, and I'm not going to even pretend that, I was around there from the very start. But if you look at some of the earliest material for it, it is not a game that took itself seriously. I've mentioned this before, but before we go too heavy into the trial, I will share one of the features that I really like. Just one second. So for those of you not familiar, let me just see if I can find I used to have the rule book. Huh. Do I really not have this anymore? Sorry, just 1 minute. Here it is. The game takes too much work to play and a truckload of money. This is also true. So someone shared a copy of the original Rogue Trader rulebook. Let me see if I can find. Okay. So yeah, I am told that the origins of the Warhammer 40K setting come from, well, actually, if we go far enough back, Games Workshop seems to have got its origin in very traditional board games. So we're talking like backgammon and chess and things like that. And then I think they had some sort of license or basically some sort of arrangement that allowed them to import Dungeons and Dragons. And so, they became a bit more associated with the hobby that we're, would be more familiar with. Like, there's no rule saying that it has to be that way, but generally, if you are in a room full of people that like Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to run into people who are a fan of, tabletop wargaming, and, vice versa. Not always guaranteed, and of course, Dungeons and Dragons has its origin in Chainmail, a tabletop game with sort of an orcs and wizards offshoot or expansion that eventually became D&D or I guess Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Anyways, it's a well-trodden road that I'm probably not equipped to, to go into great detail on. But one of their earlier products in terms of self-developed, as far as I can understand, was Warhammer Fantasy Battles, which basically I don't really think exists anymore. I think it's like Age of Sigmar now or something. And they made this other game called, I think it was Rogue Trader Warhammer 40,000. Anyways, definitely Rogue Trader. And it where is this? I see the image. I just don't see the I just don't see the stats. But apparently, one of the ideas behind this Rogue Trader game was it was a way that they could build a game around sort of surplus inventory. So, this is why you've got orcs in space and things like that. And one of the things that is kind of fun about it is that the setting didn't necessarily take itself entirely seriously. And of course, now it's... Oh yeah, here we go. Better to show than tell. So this is page 144 of the Rogue Trader book. A typical Inquisitor is represented here by the renowned Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau, a tireless exposer of psychic misdeeds and genetic deviance. He wears a suit of skin-tight powered armor under a long enveloping cloak. Like most Inquisitors, he disdains the open wearing of a helmet in favor of civilian headwear. Inquisitors tend to be eccentric in their dress as well as their lifestyles. Under his cloak are hidden various energy field devices: conversion field, stasis field, and refractor field. Only one can be used at once, of course. His favorite weapon is the bolt pistol, although he also carries a power sword and 3 Jokero digital weapons: hand flamer, las pistol, and needle pistol. He has several grenades secreted about his person, including 2 each of blind, choke, haywire, and knockout, and 1 each of crack plasma, stums, tanglefoot, and vortex. He also has a communicator, bioscanner, energy scanner, nose filters, photochromatic eye drops, an immune injector, infravision contacts, chemicals for the Jokero needler, a porta rack, a rad counter, a stimulant chemical, a sin skin applicator, and sufficient chemical for 3 uses, 3 suspensors, and a can of web solvent. As can be seen, Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau is equipped for just about anything. But then, he has to be. He's an Inquisitor. And yes, this, so far as I can tell from the description, this is not Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau. That's a couple of pages up. Behold! This is Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau, as far as I can tell. So beyond the fact that this is admittedly just very funny, I believe this is actually the first named Inquisitor in the Warhammer 40k setting. And I do not believe there has been any sort of retconning of this character out. I just think they stopped talking about him at some point. But it's kind of fun. Like, it's obviously the setting takes itself much more seriously now. And there have been a few sort of iterations. So there was... I think once upon a time there was this idea of, I can't remember exactly how it worked, the Gene Stealers or the Tyranids or something, but there was like a human element, or like the Gene Stealer cult, which I think is still sort of a thing. But obviously the Tyranids are a lot more like, Starship Troopers or Alien or something like that. But I don't know, it's kind of fun to see the earlier versions of some of this stuff. But yeah, I just like the fact that in the grim darkness of the future, there is Inquisitor Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau. All right, back to Ace Attorney. Court is now in session for the trial of Miles Edgeworth. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready. Right, very well. We have reached the final day of our proceedings in this trial. I ask that the prosecution submit decisive evidence. Understood. Come on, don't be awed into silence by every little thing he says. Very well, Mr. Von Karma. Your opening statement. Right. Thanks to Detective Gumshoe's efforts, the boat rental shop caretaker has been arrested. In yesterday's trial, the defense asserted that the caretaker was the murderer. However, the caretaker has yet to confirm this. I would like to ask the defense to cross-examine him as much as necessary. Very well. Please bring the witness into the courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I believe you all remember our witness. He lives in the boat rental shop on the lake from where he witnessed the incident. In addition, he has currently lost memory of his name and identity. Witness, why did you run away yesterday? The witness was not running away, as he will now testify. I see. Very well, please begin your testimony. Huh? Why I left court. I'm really sorry about just leaving yesterday like I did, but I wasn't running away or nothing. I went to buy some food for Polly, see? I figured I got nothing to do with this incident anyhow. I mean, I'd need one of those motive things, right? And I don't got one. So, my testimony yesterday stands as is. Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination, shall we? He has to know his name. Yanni Yogi. You're Yanni Yogi, and I'm going to prove it. Okay, I need a minute here just to check the court record, because it's been about a week. So, attorney's badge, Robert's autopsy report, time of death sometime on the 24th, 25th, shot from approximately 1 meter away. The lake photo taken automatically on 12:25 at 12:15 a.m. Misty face photo, old photograph, DL6 incident, Exhibit A is written on the back, overhead map. Pistol bullet found in the victim's body, the ballistic markings match the murder weapon's barrel. Pistol, the murder weapon, 22 caliber, fired 3 times, bears prints from Edgeworth's right hand. A metal detector makes noise when metallic objects are near, a useful detection device. Polly, the erstwhile companion of the boat ship caretaker, answers to the name Polly. DL6 case file, DL6 incident photo, a photograph of the scene of the murder, and a DL6 bullet taken from Gregory Edgeworth's heart still bears clear ballistic markings. I'd call what you did running away and not just leaving. You heard Larry's testimony, and you realized you were in danger. Now, Mr. Wright, there's no need to rush to conclusions. As I said, the witness was not running away. Listen to the testimony. She seems relaxed. In fact, they both do, Von Karma and Yanni Yogi. But I wasn't running away or nothing. Then why did you leave? He's just about to say why. Is it so hard for you to just quietly listen when someone is talking? If I sat quietly, Edgeworth would be guilty in 3 minutes. I went to buy some food for Polly. See, now this is the one that has something that I can actually sort of object to, or well, like I can potentially contradict. But I'm not. I don't feel like good enough to be able to spend some points on it. So, food. Well, Polly's a bit of a gourmand, you see. She only eats these high-quality bird pellets from France. They only have them in the big pet shop downtown. But you weren't arrested until this morning. Why didn't you go back to the caretaker's shack? Yeah, well, I kinda got lost, you see. The witness has trouble remembering things sometimes. When the police apprehended him, he was on his way back to the shack. Yeah, right. Nice try, Von Karma. No one's gonna believe that. Narkexy. Thank you very much for continuing your subscription. And yes, the puns have definitely been fun. This is actually my very first time playing the series, and I hope you're doing well. I feel like it's been a while, but I remember we talked briefly about your stream, but I don't remember if it was you were starting a hiatus or planning on coming back from a hiatus. Anyways, I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you still thinking of me, still subbing, and I hope I don't disappoint too much with Phoenix Wright, but I know I'm not always the most clever on some of the challenges. Yeah, no, that's good, and I don't want that to sound like I'm taking attendance, but obviously yours, if nothing else, the the subscription number speaks to the fact that you've been here for a while, so I appreciate it very much. Yeah, right, nice try, Von Karma, no one's going to believe that. I see. So he was lost. Please, Your Honor, come to your senses. I figured I got nothing to do with this incident anyhow. You've lost much of your memory, is that correct? Yep, seems like it. Then how could you know that you didn't have anything to do with this incident? Or maybe you're lying about not having your memory, You know exactly who you are. The witness has testified quite clearly that he has no memory of who he is. If you claim he's lying, then show the court proof. How am I supposed to prove what's going on in that old codger's head? It's impossible. I'm glad you've come to your senses, Mr. Wright. Very well, witness. Please continue. I'd need one of those motive things, right? And I don't got one. How can you say you had no motive? I say you do. You had a grudge against Edgeworth and the victim, Robert Hammond. That's why you took revenge on them, right? Please don't make me repeat myself, Mr. Wright. This witness has no memory of anything beyond several years ago. He can't hold a grudge. It's impossible. I have to prove he's lying about his memory. Otherwise, it's going to be the same thing over and over until the trial ends. Might I say something, Mr. Wright? Yes. Yes, Your Honor? You've been saying the same thing now over and over. You've been calling the witness's memory of the past or lack thereof into question. But does this really have anything to do with the current case? Of course, Your Honor. The witness has said that he has nothing to do with this case and no motive. Both of these statements are lies! Order! Order! Mr. Wright, this is a serious problem with, there is a serious problem with your claim. Or are you saying you know who this witness is? Of course, Your Honor. Ho ho! Now this is interesting. I would like to know myself. So who is he? Don't play dumb, Von Karma. Mr. Wright, please tell us the witness's name. I thought this was established in the previous section. It's not Gregory Edgeworth, he's dead. It's not Robert Hammond, he's the victim in this case. His name is Yanni Yogi, a former court bailiff. Yogi? That name seems familiar. Oh! Yanni Yogi, from the DL6 incident. Figures the judge would have heard of it. Such a famous case. But what does this mean? Your Honor, if this man is Mr. Yogi, then he has a clear motive. Jumping to conclusions again, Mr. Wright. This man, this witness, is Yanni Yogi. Fascinating. However, how do you propose to prove this to the court? This is a court of law, as you may recall. You need proof. And allow me to repeat once more that the witness has lost his memory. This is it. I have to do this now. If I can't prove he's Yogi right here, right now, then I've got nowhere else to go. Nick! How are you going to prove it? How can you prove that he's Yanni Yogi? It's okay. It's actually quite simple. Your Honor, please take this man's fingerprints. Then we'll compare them to the fingerprints on the file for Yanni Yogi 15 years ago. I see. That makes sense. Huh? I'm so very, very sorry, Mr. Wright. Why? The witness has no fingerprint. What is he, John Doe from Seven? Sorry, for those of you that don't know what that is, ask the nearest old person. What? What? No fingerprints? You see, before I worked as a caretaker, I worked at a chemical plant. I burned my fingers working with the stuff. Yep. What? Yogi, you sneak. You burn your fingerprints off to hide your past. Well, if the witness has no fingerprints, I guess we'll not be able to prove his identity. No! Well, what will you do, Mr. Wright? It's a very good movie. It seems that the case has been decided, no? No! I know what happened. I know everything. I just can't prove it. But no, I can't let it end like this. I can't lose. I think this is like its 30th birthday, isn't it? It was definitely a 90s movie. Let's take a look. Yeah, 1995. When was it released? September 22nd. But no, I can't let it end like this. I can't lose. There has to be another way. There is no one who can testify as to who this witness is. No one. Nick, what are we gonna do? Polly? I didn't even consider that he might have erased his fingerprints. What do I do? Well, Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to cross-examine his parrot for a little comic relief, Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, very funny. You're a sore winner, Von Karma. Wait a second. Cross-examine his parrot. What is it, Nick? No, you're not going to... Your Honor, the defense would like to take Mr. Von Karma up on his proposal. Take Mr. Von Karma up? On my proposal? Exactly, Your Honor. I would like to cross-examine the witness's pet parrot. Order! What do you think, Mr. Von Karma? Need you even ask? This is a farce. I object. Wait a second. You were the one who suggested I cross-examine the parrot, Von Karma. I have a right to do so as you suggested. Well, if you're so desperate, then please be my guest. Of course, should you go through with this, and nothing comes of it, then I hope you're ready for the consequences. Nick, this is crazy. Well, still want to go through with your little game? Let the parrot take the stand. I will cross-examine her, Your Honor. This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Von Karma's rigged every person's testimony, every piece of evidence, except the parrot. She's my last chance. At least, I think so. Bailiff, bring in the parrot. That's quite a bird. Please tell us your name. Name! The witness is ignoring me. It must hurt to be ignored by a bird. Very well, witness. Who is your owner? Please, testify for us. Hello, hello. Certainly the most concise testimony we've had so far. Very well, begin your cross-examination. All right. What are you going to do, Nick? I don't know. What do we do, Maya? Hello, hello. Witness, you can't just say hello and expect us to get anywhere. I want you to testify. Maya, you talk to her. Right, what do I say? As I recall, 2 days ago... Polly, have we forgotten something? What? Don't forget DL6. Wow. If I can get Polly to say that here, that will prove that the caretaker had something to do with DL6. Polly, have we forgotten something? Hello, hello. That's not what you're supposed to say. Forgot something we forgot. Hello, hello. Uh-oh, it's not working, Nick. She won't say it. This is ridiculous. Why won't she say it? Something the matter, Mr. Wright? Wait. Don't tell me Von Karma expected this. He couldn't have retrained the parrot, could he? Did he train her not to respond when we asked if we'd forgotten anything? Witness, you're here to speak. You must speak to me. Frankly, I can't believe that you're speaking to the parrot. Well, I guess we should try to get some information out of her. We need to show the judge that her owner is Mr. Yogi. Hello, hello. All right. Witness, can't just say hello and expect us to get anywhere. I want you to testify. Maya, you talk to her. Right, what do I say? Maybe I should get her to say her name. Polly, what's your name? Polly. Mr. Wright, I think we established that this parrot is named Polly. Does this have anything to do with her owner's identity? Yes, it does. Fascinating. You claim that the parrot's name will prove her owner's identity. Then show us this proof. Nick, don't you think you're taking the bluffing a little too far? Listen, we're not here to answer the question of who is the caretaker. We're here to prove that he is Yanni Yogi. All we have to do is tie the name Polly to Yogi. Your Honor, the proof that the parrot's name reveals the caretaker's identity is... Crap. I don't know. I would guess... I mean, all I got is the DL6. Oh, actually, hang on. Air in the elevator was oxygen, depleted at time of incident, no clues found on the scene. Gregory Edgeworth, age 35, defense attorney, trapped in the elevator, returning from lost trial with his son, Miles Edgeworth, age 9, 1 bullet found in the heart, murder weapon was fired twice. Yanni Yogi, court bailiff trapped in the elevator with Edgeworth, memory lost due to oxygen deprivation after his arrest. Fiancée Polly Jenkins committed suicide. The DL6 case file. That's quite a large file you have there. Which page is this proof on, then? Show us or stop wasting our time. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please show us the page. Where in this file is the information connected to the parrot's name? It's on the suspect data page. This page has all the information about Yanni Yogi. Right after he was arrested, his fiancée committed suicide, see? Indeed, it does say that, yes. What was his fiancée's name? Polly Jenkins. Polly! Exactly, Your Honor. She transformed into a bird like it was an Ovid tale. He wanted to remember the name of his fiancée who had committed suicide. That's why he named his parrot after her. Hey, how's it going? I see. I guess that is possible. Bah, a mere coincidence, that's all. My granddaughter has a dog she calls Phoenix. Well, Mr. Phoenix Wright, does that make you my granddaughter's fiancé? Maybe it does! She's only 7 years... No, that definitely does not. She's only 7 years old. Indeed. Alone, it is a little weak for evidence in a murder trial. We would need some other corroborating evidence. The 3-page case file is a large file. It makes me feel so much better about my high school assignment. I was, I mean, this is like the topic du jour, so it's, I don't want to make it like too much of a big deal of it, but it was a New Yorker article on basically, do college essays mean anything in the age of ChatGPT? And like obviously there's a few different versions of this this kind of article going around, some of them better than others. It's the New Yorkers, at the very least it's long. But yeah, I don't know, like it is kind of funny because I read that right after reading I think it was a New York article about people trying to get their concentration back. So very deliberately reading sort of long and complicated books. So I don't know, I think Middlemarch was one, Decline and Fall of the Third Reich was another, Infinite Jest. And I actually don't think that's a bad thing to do. Like I always sort of feel when I had a coworker who was really insistent on reading, I think it was like every entry in the BBC's like best books of all time list or something like that. And I do feel a little bad for that, just because you have a finite amount, like it's almost kind of like a monkey's paw situation really, where we live in a time where even if you wanted to, there is so much printed material that you will not be able to read every book in your lifetime. There's a very good chance, I would say, that probably you wouldn't be able to read, if you just said that all history didn't count and you only wanted to limit yourself to the new books that were written, you would probably not be able to accomplish that. And so with that in mind, the idea that you're going to do the reading because some list told you to do the reading, I felt always a little uncomfortable with that. But it's not that they're bad books on that list, right? It's just, ideally you're going to allow, you're going to allow yourself to, just a bit of freedom in terms of what you engage with. I think the big reason for that for me is that it's a little bit like movies in the sense that when I wanted to work in film, and when I worked in film, to me, one of the biggest inspirations as a cinematographer was Conrad Hall. And like as a director, you know, my favorite, in fact, my still favorite is Conrad Hall. And then as a director, my favorite is still Stanley Kubrick. And I think these definitely have a real claim to being the greatest ever in terms of their profession, the GOAT of all time, if you will. And so like the drawback is, you know, you watch something like Barry Lyndon, and how do you compare, right? How are you ever going to deliver something like that? Whereas if you watch something crappy, there is that wonderful feeling of like, well, I could have done better than that, right? And that's definitely true with writing. There's limits to that as well. I feel okay saying this just because like there's enough of a gap between what I'm like my stream stuff here and this group that I'm in, but I'm part of a writer's group where we're doing this hot potato exercise, and I'm glad that I did it for the experience, but I'm definitely finding the challenge with it is that as these go on, I'm inheriting more and more of the problems from the previous entries, and I do my best to sort of handle them and try and, you know, work with it. But I think the problem that I run into is when it comes to fiction, I already have trouble doing my own stuff, let alone sort of inheriting all of the problems from the earlier ones. Like coming up with the ideas isn't really the problem. Coming up with good ideas is. So it's not that I sort of sit down and say, oh, if only somebody would give me a premise for a story, you know, then I'd be able to do it. And so as a result, you know, the challenge is, because I want to kind of make my own stuff, the idea of sort of picking up a story that's been worked on by some earlier people without the option of sort of changing and correcting what I think, like, I guess what I would say is like there's a couple of times where I picked it up and I looked at the previous section and I'm like, this hasn't really advanced the story at all, right? I haven't learned anything new about the character, and there isn't really anything that's happened. So how do I sort of kick this thing in the pants? Which I realize makes me sound very judgmental. Like the thing is that I'm fully aware of my own limitations as a writer. But it's one of these cases where I'd rather be dealing with my own problems rather than someone else's. So anyways, I realize it's a long way around, but where I'm going with that is that it's weird, right? To a certain extent, you want to read as many excellent books that will leave you feeling enriched and with a better understanding of the world. And yet, if you aspire to be a writer, or if you want to learn something about the craft of writing, sometimes actually reading stuff that doesn't work and being able to articulate why it doesn't work can be, not only can that be educational, that can actually be exactly the antidote to the paralysis that you might feel when you're sitting down and writing. I think it's also true, I'm not in university, so I do have a little bit more experience now, and so I think it's also fair to say that there's probably a time when it was a bit easier for me to sit down and write something because I didn't know any better, right? You just got to run off and write something, and you don't worry about whether or not it's any good or, how it relates to anything that's come before. Whereas, of course, the more you read and the more experience you get, I guess the more self-conscious you get, which isn't always conducive to doing good work. So, anyways, I realize this has really gone off the rails here, but it did make me think a little bit about the combination of the long books, 3-page case file counting as a large file, etc., etc. Figured it was worth sharing. Also, just I wanted to ramble, I guess. But I don't have a good solution to this. I think I probably just need to jump back into the game. All right, where am I going to find that? Nick, we're getting closer. One more. If we can just get one more piece of evidence. Right, but what? Very well, witness. You may continue. Witness, you're here to speak. You must speak to me. Frankly, I can't believe that you're speaking to the parrot. Well, guess we should try to get some more information out of her. We need to show the judge that her owner is Mr. Yogi. Hello, hello. Witness, you can't just say hello and expect us to get anywhere. I want you to testify. Maya, you talk to her. Right. What do I say? Well, I mean, the only thing we've got left is the safe number. Smash cut. There's a wonderful David Mamet essay which complains about the smash cut. Maybe I'll get her to say the number of that safe. Huh? Safe? Why? Let's just try to get her to say anything, okay? Polly, what was the number of the safe in the shack? 1228. 1228. My, what a reckless parrot. Well, Mr. Wright, you aren't claiming that this number has something to do with the caretaker. Actually, it does. That's why I had her say it. Ha! Ridiculous. How can the number to a safe tell us who the caretaker is? Show us your proof. What could possibly link this number to the caretaker's true identity? Yeah, December 28th, 2000. 2001? This game is for old people.
Take that!
The DL6 case file. What is this obsession you have with that case? Mr. Wright, where in this file is something relating to that safe number? It's on the case summary page. The case summary? Specifically, the date on which the DL6 incident occurred. The date of the incident, December 28th. Why, that's today's date, 15 years ago. And the number of that safe is 1228. Ah! He used the date of the DL6 incident as the number for his safe, Your Honor. That's how important that date was to him. I see. It certainly is an interesting coincidence. People often do set their secret numbers to dates.
Objection!
Bah, that's not tangible proof. I set my ATM's card's number to 001 because I'm number 1. This has nothing to do with a date. Nothing. That's enough. I think we've reached a conclusion here. This is a mere coincidence, that's all. True, that is a possibility. However, two coincidences at the same time seems more like a pattern to me. What are you saying? Summon the caretaker of the boat shop. Immediately. Witness, tell us your name.
Objection!
Wait. This witness, he doesn't remember. No, it's okay. I've accomplished what I wanted to do. I'm done. Heck, he looks totally different. You gotta do 1, 2, 3, 4 with an exclamation mark to make it secure, Narkexy. This is the real Yogi, I think, finally. He's been acting feeble to hide his true identity. Acting for 15 years. Well, let me ask you again. Please state your name for the court. My name is Yanni Yogi. 15 years ago, I served as a bailiff in this very court. Order! Order! Yanni Yogi. So, was it you who killed Robert Hammond? And tried to frame Miles Edgeworth for his death? Yes, it was me. I did it. They put me on the witness stand 15 years ago. Robert Hammond. He said I was mentally unsound. He told me it would make me innocent, get me off the hook. But I'm not crazy. You're crazy! So I pretended to have brain damage. I was innocent, really, but he didn't believe me. We won the trial, but I lost everything. I lost my job, my fiancée, my social standing. Then this year, 15 years later, a package arrived. It was a letter and a pistol. The plan was written out in careful detail. It was a plan for me to take my revenge on the people who ruined my life. I didn't care who had sent it. I thought this was my chance. After 15 years, this was it. Finally a chance to have my revenge on Robert Hammond and Miles Edgeworth. I have no regrets. Wait a moment. Revenge? Against Miles Edgeworth? What do you mean? I'm not at liberty to speak on that matter. Why don't you ask Mr. Edgeworth yourself? Anyway, I admit it. I was the one who killed Robert Hammond. Von Karma? Where is Mr. Yogi? Under arrest, Your Honor. I saw no room for error in his confession. Then the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, is innocent. In this case, at least. Very well. Will the defendant please take the stand? There are a few mysteries left unsolved. Still, you are cleared of suspicion for this particular case. So I would like to pass judgment on the murder of Mr. Robert Hammond. Any objections? I don't believe it. Why isn't Von Karma saying anything? Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Objection!
Did someone just say objection? It wasn't Von Karma. Wait, but that means... No. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I object to your judgment. What do you mean? I'm not innocent at all. As we have heard, Yanni Yogi killed Robert Hammond in revenge. But revenge for what? Nick! Edgeworth is trying to confess. He's gonna say he's guilty. He's gonna tell them it was the murder in the DL6 incident. He's gonna tell them he killed his own dad. Uh-oh, what do I do?
Objection!
The judgment has already been passed. I object to Edgeworth's outburst.
Objection!
Didn't something like this happen yesterday, too? I believe a certain witness raised an objection after a guilty verdict was passed. That would be Larry. We must hear this new statement. We must hear Miles Edgeworth. He's right. We have a duty to hear Mr. Edgeworth out. For 15 years, I have had a recurring dream. A nightmare. It's only a nightmare. That's what I told myself. But now I know it wasn't a dream. Yanni Yogi wasn't the killer. You mean in the incident where your father died? From the distance of the shot, it wasn't suicide either. Everything was as clear as day. The murderer, the criminal in the DL6 incident, it was me. Your Honor, I confess my guilt. I am guilty for the DL6, the statute of limitations on which ends today. The culprit is me. Order! Order! This is certainly unexpected. The defendant declared innocent is confessing to a different crime. A crime for which the statute of limitations runs out today. I'm not really sure how I should deal with this. Bah! It's obvious. We hold a trial right here, right now. We try this man for his crime of 15 years ago. I think I would like to take a 5-minute recess. During this time, I will consider the appropriate course of action to take. Court is adjourned. December 28th, 2:24 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. I'm sorry, Wright. I've just wasted all of your effort. Mr. Edgeworth, I don't believe it, sir. I mean, you kill your dad? I didn't want to believe it myself, Detective. But it's the truth. I deserve to be punished. Murder is murder, no matter what the circumstances. This is crazy. Just crazy. Nick, what are you doing? Huh? Oh. I was just reading through the court record once more. I'm getting my case ready. Your case? For what? Huh? Isn't it obvious? I'm going to prove that Miles Edgeworth is innocent. What are you talking about, pal? He just admitted to it. He confessed that he did it. In court. I'm sorry, Edgeworth, but I don't believe your nightmare. What? It's just a dream. It's not real. The truth is right here in this court record. In any case, tighten your belts. The real fight is just beginning. I'll prove you're innocent. Trust me. Right? December 28th, 2:30 p.m., District Court, Courtroom number 3. Now then, I would like to resume our trial. Judge, Miles Edgeworth has admitted his own guilt. He has confessed a crime. Let us begin by hearing his testimony. Then, though pointless, let the defense do their cross-examining. The statute of limitations on the DL6 incident runs out today. Though it's unconventional for me, I'd like to run this one by the book. I see. Does the defense have any objections? No, Your Honor. Von Karma, you knew this was going to happen from the very beginning, didn't you? Very well. Will Miles Edgeworth take the stand? Will the witness state his name and profession? Now, before we go any further, I'm just coming at the 1 hour mark. I could really use a coffee right now. And the catch is that the closest, there's a coffee shop that will be open at this time, but it is going to involve a little bit of a walk for me. It could be, I could be looking at a half-hour break. I'm actually just going to take a minute to look it up. Would folks mind if I took a longer break on the condition that I make sure that I make it up on the later part of the stream? Yeah, so it says about 12 minutes walking. As much as I'd love to, I have done sort of a walk and talk for stream before, but this one would just be, hey, Ellen Ripley. Yeah, it's really just because this would be a longer one than expected. But if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to do that. I'll just maybe put up a different... Let's do that. So now would be a great time to get a drink or otherwise get yourself sorted out. I'm very happy to see so many of you in here, and I absolutely do want to go through for the end of this. but it is. I just want to be upfront about the time that it's going to take. So I'm having a great time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your boiling eggs to throw at cars. By the way, I hope you saw the delightful music video I shared. Anyways, I really I want to go the distance on this one if I can. I'm really enjoying the twists. It's one of the reasons why I want to get myself a coffee. Also, I could just use the walk. Um, I'll maybe try if I can to participate in chat while I go on. So again, I appreciate some of you may want to sort of scurry off somewhere slightly more entertaining. But I hope I'll at least see most of you when I come back for the thrilling conclusion of the DL6 incident. But until then, take care, get a glass of water, have a stretch, do whatever needs doing. And like I said, I'll try to be back around 9:45 Eastern time. So that's about 20 minutes. But I'm going to need to like leg it to make sure that I hit that time. So please don't hold me to that. I mean, coffee at this hour doesn't sound like a good decision either, Narkexy. Anyways, I'll see you all in a little bit. Vanguard's putting me on blast for not running, but I'm like 2 minutes off from what my my sign said. Thanks. And yes, not to out Narkexy, but Ellen Ripley, Narkexy is an Aussie, also a streamer. But yeah, so I did want to get the pre-roll off. So it says there's about 30 seconds of ads running. So I'm gonna try and aside. I actually don't know how close that is. I believe what provoked that comment was actually, wouldn't that be funny if that was your coworker? Yeah, I thought so. I know you were doing it, but I wasn't under the impression that you completed it. Oh, women are definitely allowed to stream. It's just just close your chat. Actually, so just before I go too much further, I did want to talk. I did want to take a minute here to tout Revive Snow, who came in at the beginning. So Revive Snow is somebody I'm very happy to have gotten to know on Twitch. I believe I originally found them through Phantom Brigade, which is a wonderful turn-based tactics game by Brace Yourself Games. And Revive Snow has been somebody both to encourage me to look for other opportunities for broadcasting. And the reason I like highlighting that is because very commonly I've actually seen people try to close opportunities or sort of keep them for themselves, which is a shame because they're not necessarily, in very few cases are they zero sum. And in the zero sum cases, you really just don't want to take those opportunities, frankly. So on top of the fact that I actually think Revive Snow is a really interesting broadcast as a camless, voiceless streamer, there's somebody who is big-hearted and Canadian and definitely friendly to be around in chat as well as on stream. And I wanted to take a quick second to give a proper shout-out rather than just saying hi and speaking to their qualities when they're the only one in the stream. All right, you've all been very patient with me. Let's continue on with, I guess technically it hasn't given us a new title, but we're on to the DL6 incident, I guess. Will the witness state his name and profession? Miles Edgeworth. I am a prosecuting attorney. Mr. Edgeworth. 15 years ago, you mistakenly killed your father, Gregory Edgeworth. Is this correct? It is correct. Then testify about this matter to the court. When Edgeworth was telling me about his dream yesterday, I noticed something. One detail didn't quite fit. That will be the key, but only if I can get it to work. Please, please. The DL6 incident. That day, I had gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. My father and Mr. Yogai lost their composure and began to argue. Just then, something heavy fell at my feet. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. A moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. It was a terrible scream. I remember it to this day. That's all. So it's always fun to try and do this stuff ahead of time. So it occurred to me there is a comment. There was an observation that there was a bullet that went through the glass or the door of the elevator, and then of course there's the one that winds up in Edgeworth's father. So it would seem to me that there should be. So there's either a shot from outside the elevator, or there's more than one shot in the elevator, and that's where I'm starting with this. And until now, you thought this memory was a dream. We were stuck in that elevator for 5 hours. The oxygen in the elevator ran out, and I lost my memory of the events. Bah! The same claim Mr. Yogi has made. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. That day, I had gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. What was the trial your father was involved in on that day? I don't remember things very clearly. Only two things. I know my father lost, and Mr. Von Karma was the prosecuting attorney. Mr. Von Karma, you were handling that case? It was 15 years ago. I don't remember the details. That was when Edgeworth pointed out the problem in Von Karma's evidence. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. So there were 3 people, including yourself, trapped in that elevator. Yes, myself, my father, and Jnana Yogi. We were fine at first, but then as time passed, no one came to help. My father and Mr. Yogi lost their composure and began to argue. What did you do then? I was a 9-year-old boy at the time. What could I do? I was scared, trembling in the corner. But then, just then, something heavy fell at my feet. What was it? A pistol. I assume it was the bailiff, Jnana Yogi's. The safety must have come off when it fell from his holster. And you picked it up. What happened next? I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. Did you know it was a pistol when you threw it? I think I knew. I knew it was dangerous. But the air was getting so thick, I panicked. So you're saying that you threw the pistol at Mr. Yogi? I was in a daze. A moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. The gun fired once. Yes. I think, after I threw it, I lost consciousness. Since then, they've echoed in my head every day. That gunshot and that horrible scream. The scream. It was a terrible scream. I remember it to this day. Alright, so I'm not sure about the scream, but the game seems to be pointing me to it. To this day. Yes, I could practically hear it now. I doubt I will ever forget that scream as long as I live. There it is. One part of that testimony clearly contradicts the evidence. Weird. But I don't know what it means. I better find out, and quick. Alright. Case summary. Date, December 28th, 2001. Location, elevator, district courthouse. Air in the elevator was oxygen depleted at the time of the incident. No clues found on the scene. Victim data. Gregory Edgeworth, age 35, defense attorney, trapped in elevator, returning from a lost trial with son, Miles Edgeworth, age 9. 1 bullet found in the heart. The murder weapon was fired twice, so it wasn't even the photo. Jnana Yogi, court bailiff, trapped in the elevator with the Edgeworths, memory loss due to oxygen deprivation. After his arrest, fiancée Polly Jenkins committed suicide. Okay. My father, Mr. Yogi, lost their composure and began to argue. Just then, something heavy fell at my feet. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting. A moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. A scream. Are you sure you only heard 1 gunshot? Yes, I'm sure of that. I heard the shot and the scream. Then everything faded. I was unconscious until the rescuers came. I see. No, Your Honor. Unfortunately, you don't. Look at this file one more time. This plainly contradicts the witness's testimony. You do enjoy dragging out that file, don't you? I don't accept this evidence, unless you can tell us what page it's on. Which page contradicts Miles Edgeworth's testimony? Look at the victim data in this file. It says quite plainly the murder weapon was fired twice. Miles Edgeworth only heard one gunshot, yet the murder weapon was fired twice. The first shot was the accidental firing when the pistol was thrown. So who fired the remaining shot? Was there perhaps another shooter who fired that second shot? Your Honor, I'm sure you're aware. This incident occurred 15 years ago. The evidence is dated. The pistol did fire twice. However, we do not know when that second shot was fired. It might have been fired the day before the incident. There is no proof that the second shot had anything to do with this incident. What? I see. You do have a point, Mr. Wright. The murder weapon was fired twice, as we have heard. One of those shots was fired by the defendant, a boy at the time. Do you have any proof that the other shot fired had something to do with the case? Well, we have to say yes. Your Honor, I think I will be able to show you proof. What? Impossible. Now, Mr. Von Karma, save your surprise for after you've seen the evidence. Very well, Mr. Wright, show us your proof. Do you have evidence that the second firing of the pistol is related to this incident? So my best bet here... Well, there's two. So there's the photograph of the scene of the murder, and then there is the DL6 bullet. I am slightly more inclined to do the incident photo on this one for the simple reason. So the logic essentially is this. We've got the DL6 bullet taken from Gregory Edgeworth's heart, still bears clear ballistic markings. So that establishes it, that connects it to the murder weapon. That connects it to the murder, but it's still a single bullet, so it doesn't necessarily override the story. However, fans of the JFK assassination will probably not be able to reconcile the positioning of Edgeworth's dad and the bullet hole in the elevator, which was my original. Obviously, it took me reading the file to use that as the proper indicator, but look at this photograph. This is a photograph of the scene of the crime 15 years ago. I can see that the victim lying there is Gregory Edgeworth. This proves the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. This photo proves it. So let me get this straight. This photo proves 2 shots were fired? Where? Your Honor, please get a clue. Show the judge the contradiction in the photo. Well, it's have to be this. As should be obvious, the contradiction is here. I see. A bullet hole in the door. Your Honor! Gregory Edgeworth was killed by a shot from the pistol. Yet there is also a bullet hole in the elevator door. We also know that the murder weapon was fired twice. Thus, someone other than Edgeworth fired that second shot. Order? Order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? It's simple, Your Honor. At the time of the incident, 2 shots were fired. One went into Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other hit the elevator door. Remember that the defendant lost consciousness after the first shot, the shot he fired rang out. In conclusion, we must agree that the second shot was fired by someone else. Mr. Wright, but who could that someone else be? The murderer, of course. I knew I should have stepped in before your wild fantasies got out of hand. Mr. Wright, look once more at the DL6 incident case file. Look closely. Try the case summary page. Case summary, that's on page 1. Look what is written there. I'm just going to bring this up for myself so I can... Air in the elevator was oxygen, depleted at the time of the incident. No clues found on the scene. Not a single clue was found on the scene. If the pistol had indeed been fired 2 times, then the other bullet would have been discovered on the scene. He does have a point. That second bullet has never been found. Why? Because the second bullet does not exist. The bullet that claimed Gregory Edgeworth's life was the one fired by his own son. That is the truth of this matter. The whole truth. It was undoubtedly something else that made that bullet hole in the door. Order! I will have order! Mr. Wright has proven one thing to us quite clearly, that the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. However, as Mr. Von Karma says, the second bullet fired was not found. It is highly unlikely that the police merely overlooked the second bullet. So all we have is the single bullet fired. I'm afraid I have to discount the defense's claim. I praise the judge for his wisdom in this matter. Ugh, how did this happen? I don't believe the second bullet didn't exist. Was I wrong? Have I been wrong about this whole incident? What are you doing, Nick? Why are you raising an objection? I'm sorry, Maya. What? It looks like I was wrong. Nick? If the second bullet wasn't there, then all my conjectures are for nothing. No. But you said you'd do it, Nick. You said you'd get Edgeworth declared innocent. I'm sorry. It's just, when I saw the photograph, I thought that 2 shots had been fired. I was so certain of it. I thought I'd won. I thought there was another person. Someone else who fired the killing shot. But now, I was wrong to think that it could be that simple. This case has stood unsolved for 15 years. Nick? Well, it seems that we have finally cleared up this incident. Only 1 bullet was found at the scene of the crime. That shot was fired by Miles Edgeworth. Precisely. I would like to ask one thing of Miles Edgeworth before passing my verdict. Have you been paying attention to the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. Do you have any objections? No, I do not. So you killed your father, though that was not your intention? Yes, I did. Oh no. He's accepted the guilt. Very well. Statute of limitations on the murder of Gregory Edgeworth runs out today. Therefore, I must pronounce a verdict on the defendant today, right here. Right now. Indeed. Does anyone have any objections? I've been here before. It's just like my first day in court. There are so many things I know I should be saying, but my mind's gone blank. I can't find the words. Mr. Wright? Everyone, all together now. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
Your Honor, I object. Mr. Wright, on what grounds do you object, Nick? I don't know. His case is perfect. No. It must exist. The second bullet. What? What did you just say? Nothing. The second bullet must exist. But where? Someone took it. It seems waiting is not going to produce any answers from Mr. Wright. Wait, Your Honor. The second bullet. It existed. What? we've just heard proof that it did not exist. I realize that, Your Honor. I'm really grasping here. It's just someone took it from the scene of the crime. That's what happened. But who? The murderer. The murderer? Then tell us just who is this murderer? I'm still thinking about that one. So the criminal took the second bullet, but why? Huh? First of all, how would they have found it? It's not easy to find a stray bullet, Mr. Wright. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet? I'm not quite sure how to read this. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet? I don't see a reason why, but I think... Okay, this is actually a tricky one for me. So I don't quite feel like this is going to... Okay, so basically the health bar isn't showing up, so I feel reasonably safe to sort of take a wild stab in the dark at this, so this makes me slightly inclined to tell the truth. There's nothing in terms of what I've said here that communicates a pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet. But it doesn't really account for what... Well, okay, no, there's a video game logic reason I can think of why, but we'll say the murderer didn't need it. See where this goes. Why would the murderer have spent time to look for that stray bullet? I haven't got a clue. What's wrong, Mr. Wright? The murderer had no reason to take that bullet. You don't want to admit it, but it's true. Had to take it. Had to take it. Murderer? What does that mean? You're thinking too normal. Okay. This is me putting the red yarn up on the board here. This is what I was thinking before, but the Mia highlight is pushing me towards this. So the need to take the bullet, if you are an obsessive type, someone with very good handwriting, let's say, someone who might hold a grudge against Edgeworth, may feel compelled to take the bullet. So I think this is pointing me to Von Karma. Don't think why the bullet was taken. Think why the bullet had to be taken. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the murderer had no intention of taking the bullet from the scene. But the murderer had to take that bullet. Had to, Mr. Wright. What do you mean? Well, for instance... For instance, what? Maybe the bullet hit the murderer? The bullet hit the murderer. Just saying, for instance. I mean, if I hit you, you'd have to take it with you, wouldn't you? It's not like you could perform surgery right there. You know? Wait a second. I was just talking off the top of my head, but what if that's really what happened? Oh, damn! Okay, so I was wrong on the reasoning, but that would also explain why Von Karma needs to take a vacation. Let me get this straight. But then that doesn't answer why the gun that's in the... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna roll with this. So at the time of the murder, the murderer themselves was shot. And they left with the second bullet still inside of them. Thus leaving only one bullet at the scene of the crime. Yes. I guess that's how it would work, yes. But there's a problem with that. The other two people rescued from that elevator Miles Edgeworth and Yana Yogai were both unharmed. So that would mean the murderer came from outside, yes. The two men fight inside the elevator. Trying to stop them, the boy picks up the pistol at his feet and throws it. The pistol discharges, and the bullet goes through the elevator door and hits the murderer outside. The boy loses consciousness. Then the murderer opens the elevator door and sees the men inside. Mr. Wright, you are truly the most unpredictable defense attorney I've ever known. I can tell you're grasping, yet I cannot deny the possibility of what you say. What are you saying? Deny it! Deny it! Okay. I'm gonna take 10 seconds. I put my coffee down in the other part of the room. I've been really engrossed in this, but I actually really want to get my coffee. So I will be back in just a couple seconds while I pick it up. See, I'm here before the timer's done, but you're all gonna pretend like I wasn't because of the stream delay. No one involved with the incident was wounded. There was no murderer. No one was wounded at the time of the incident. He's right. I can't think of anyone. Hey, Nick! Huh? I just thought of something really crazy. Crazy? Remember what Mr. Grossberg said yesterday? Gregory Edgeworth dealt a blow to his perfect trial record. Wow. Must have been quite a shock for Von Karma. He took a vacation for several months after that. They're totally pushing this towards Von Karma being the murderer. Yes, an unusual event for the man. That was the first and last vacation he's taken in his many years of prosecuting. Just jab him with the metal detector. What if Von Karma didn't take a vacation because of shock, but took it because he was injured? Which would mean it could only mean one thing. He was the murderer in the DL6 incident. He was the man who shot Gregory Edgeworth. It was Von Karma. Oh, man. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You seem dazed. No, Your Honor. Well, you have indicated the possibility that the murderer came from outside. Can you give us the name of your suspect? Uh-oh. Should I come out and say it now? You only yell at once. Your Honor, there is a suspect, one lone suspect. Well, this is certainly interesting news. Very well, Mr. Wright. Who is your suspect? Ugh, my hands are shaking. But... Von Karma! Von Karma?! You mean the Von Karma? The prosecutor? The one standing right over there? Bah! You don't object? I see no need. Why honor this ridiculous outburst with my objection? Because you took a vacation for several months starting the day after the incident. Yet you pride yourself on a perfect record. Why would you take such a long vacation without any reason? So you're claiming that I took a vacation to heal my injury from the incident. Fascinating. Prove it. I would have needed surgery, no? Where did I go under the knife at, Mr. Wright? Bring the doctor that operated on me. Have him testify. Heck! Let's find out who his doctor is. It's no use. Edgeworth! I know Von Karma, perhaps too well. He's perfect. He wouldn't leave clues. He probably didn't undergo surgery. That would leave a doctor as a witness. Nobody's that perfect. So what, Nick? Did Von Karma pull the bullet out by himself? That's insane! No, he couldn't have. You can't just pull bullets out of yourself. Wait. What does that mean? They are gonna make us use the metal detector. That bullet has to be somewhere. But where? Well, Mr. Wright, can you produce evidence to prove that I was shot? We're going for it. All right, Von Karma, I'll prove it. And I'll even use evidence. I know you like it so much. What? The evidence that proves Von Karma was shot is... I'm sorry, I'm extremely amused by the idea that... like, just imagine a Law and Order episode where the guy from behind the desk just pulls up a metal detector and starts waving it over the other guy. Von Karma is perfect. He wouldn't risk surgery without leaving an evidence trail. So then I ask, where is that bullet now? I think it unlikely that Von Karma performed surgery on himself. You don't mean... I do. There is the possibility that the bullet is still inside Von Karma. Is that even possible for all these years? Well, there's one way to find out. We could use this metal detector. Well, Von Karma, I'm going to run this over you and see what we find. I refuse. You refuse? But refusing this means you acknowledge that the bullet is still inside you? Order! 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 Your Honor, the defense requests that we be allowed to use the metal detector. Judge, I call for a suspension of this trial. This is an invasion of privacy. The statute of limitations runs out on this case today. It was you who said we had to end it right here, right now. Enough. I permit the use of the metal detector. Mr. Von Karma, you will submit yourself to testing. Nick, what does this mean? I don't know, but we have to give it a shot. It reacted. Something's inside his right shoulder. The bullet. Mr. Von Karma? You. It was you. I was afraid this would happen. And so I remained silent. Indeed, there is a bullet in my shoulder. However, it has nothing to do with this incident. What? I was shot in the shoulder long before the DL6 incident. I claim that the bullet in my shoulder has no relation to DL6. But, Mr. Von Karma, can you prove that? Prove? I have no obligation to prove anything. It is Mr. Wright who must prove something here. Not I. Mr. Wright? Well, can you prove it? Can you prove that the bullet in Von Karma's shoulder was from DL6? Of course he can't. You don't have any of the DL6 evidence. That's because you took it out of the records room yesterday. With no proof, you cannot convict me of any crime. So sorry, Mr. Wright. No, I'm the one who's sorry, Mr. Von Karma. What? You were close, one day away from freedom. But you see, I have proof. What? Who would have thought you could dig your own grave trying to convict Edgeworth? I can link that bullet in your shoulder to the DL6 incident. And here's my final proof. I'm gonna just go for the DL6 bullet. That's a bullet. Where did you get that? This is the bullet used in the DL6 incident. This was taken from the heart of the victim, Mr. Gregory Edgeworth. The bullet is preserved quite nicely with all the ballistic markings intact. Ballistic markings. You may recall the term. It came up in the first trial 2 days ago. Ballistic markings are the fingerprints of a weapon. All bullets fired from a gun are marked with that weapon's unique pattern. By examining the markings, you can tell which weapon fired the bullet. It's quite accurate. We have 2 bullets in our possession. One, the bullet removed from Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other, Mr. Von Karma, is the bullet buried in your shoulder. We could analyze both bullets. Then, if the markings matched, we would know that both bullets had been fired from the same gun. The very same pistol. In other words, the murder weapon that killed Gregory Edgeworth. Mr. Von Karma, you will let us remove the bullet from your shoulder, and we'll compare it to the ballistic markings to those on this bullet, and solve this case once and for all. Well, Mr. Von Karma? That same script. Oh my